Welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys are having fun out there doing your watercolor and just enjoying yourself. I'm Jacqueline Jax. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please definitely do it. I have so many interesting videos that I post all the time for watercolor, and I also have watercolor classes as well as a watercolor store where I make handmade watercolors. Actually, I'm going to be using some of those today. These are honey pots, and these handmade honeys are just beautiful formulas. I'm going to be showing you how to do a mixing chart. And there is also a class I'm currently working on that is the Botanical Watercolor Journaling for Beginners. And there are some extensive videos on making and mixing greens for your watercolor botanicals in that class coming up today, which is going to be really exciting. I can't wait to see what you guys think about those, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't subscribed or you want to get into that class, it is available online. You can go ahead to use the link in the description box to find it. So things you'll need for this is a waterproof pen, which you can get on my store at Jack's Watercolor. These are great because they won't smear. I have Jack's 100% cotton watercolor paper, which if you're a subscriber to my monthly subscriptions, you probably already have some of these. I just drew some squares depending on how many watercolors you're going to mix. And so basically the center is going to be the solid color, and I divide it into lights and darks so that I'm reminded that these are going to be lighter shades and these are going to be darker shades. And that's just the way I do it. You can really arrange this any way you want. There's so many that you can do. You can do ones for just specific colors, like just have everything be this sided and lighter darker for like all of your yellows or all of your blues and greens, things like that. And then I keep a swatch sheet. I love these little swatch sheets because I like the way they look when I just kind of test out the color before I add it to my chart. Because charts to me are all about exploration. So I'm looking for colors that I would actually use, not just going to settle on the mix. A lot of times people will do these also where this side is like the more of one color than the other, and that's another good way to do the chart. Like you could do, instead of lights and dark shades, you could do like 50-50, and as you move to the side it's like maybe 60-40 or 70-30, you know what I mean, as far as one color versus the other. So you would have this color and this color, and when it's more of this color it'd be here, more of this color here. So you can do different charts for different things. You really just kind of have to think about it a little bit as far as the end result and then work backwards in order to figure out what you want to do with your chart. So I'm going to start with the lighter colors and go into the darker shades, just so that I have, I don't know, I typically paint that way anyway. So this one is the Sunflower, which is PY83, and then I have Azo Yellow, which is PY150. Beautiful, beautiful, almost rare colors these days. It's really hard to find these single pigments. And then I have this Onome, which is also a beautiful, beautiful purpley color. I have Japanese crabapple, which is a new color. All of these actually just got made and released just this week on the site. I'm always releasing new ones because I have a very faithful following that is very thirsty for lots of watercolor, especially in these classes. And these are cute little airtight jars. When you purchase 4 or more, you get this amazing little tin. This month we're releasing the orange tins. And then if you purchase more than, if you purchase 6 or more, then you get a wood palette that you can fill in that's really nice as well. Okay, so let's just take some color with a clean brush, and I'm just going to put enough of it on my mixing palette here so that I have access to it. Now on this side, I'm going to note the color. So let's take our pen. I may as well just write them all in. And I've got Sunflower. I have Azo Yellow. crabapple. Aqua suede. That'll be interesting. I actually haven't done a chart on aqua suede yet, and anome I have not done either. That will be some really interesting neutrals, so we'll see what purple does as it mixes through the chart. So on this side, I'm going to do the heavier strengths. So going over the middle line makes sense because I want to see the transparency. And I'll just kind of scrape off the extra here because I can definitely use it for the mixes. And then I'm going to wipe this down so I don't dirty my water too much, because the water will get really, really dirty fast. Now we need a lighter version, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this and really, really wet it down. And there's my lighter version. So next we're going to get some sampling of the Azo Yellow. And this is a very earthy, gritty, beautiful yellow. I love this yellow. It does like incredible things in mixes. It's really, really like so neat in the like heavier form. I mean, it doesn't get any more pigmented than this one. I don't think I've ever had an Azo Yellow this pigmented before. It's really wild. So I'm gonna wipe off some of this and then get down to my light version of it by adding water. And again, this is your choice as to how light you would like and how dark you would like. This is entirely your exploration of your colors. So when you're doing your palette, you don't necessarily pick the color that I like, pick the color version that you like or that you're looking for, because that's what's really going to teach you more about what you want to use and help you fall in love with your colors. We all have like a different eye for it, you know? So see how different they are? That's what I love about Azo Yellow. You get that warm, kind of earthy grittiness that are great for landscapes, but then you can also dilute it and use it as a transparent color that's just a fabulous warm yellow. Amazing color, right? Just so, so good. So now if we mixed the sunflower with the Azo, you would get this, and this would be the lighter version. So let's go ahead and take some of this and mix it into some of this until we get a color that we like. And that's where my little testing area comes. I like that one. So I'm going to do a lighter version and a darker version. Then in the darker version, I think I'll even go a little more Azo, just so that I can see the difference. See how nice and warm it is. And then in the lighter version, I just rinse my brush out and just pull the color over. Another thing you can do on this is you can actually layer. So like if you wanted to add more to one area, you could layer it in so that it's more modeled. Just so that visually you have kind of like a comparative, you know, like, oh yeah, if I want to use it, because this is to me in real life as to what I would use and how I would use it. So next, let's get the crabapple out. I love using them in the liquid forms. By the way, if you are, as we head into spring and summer, don't forget to refrigerate your watercolor palettes, especially your wet palettes, if you're not going to let them dry in the air. And if you have tubes, usually they're pretty good. They're airtight once you seal them. If you have honey pots, they're usually pretty good as well once you seal them. But if you're going to leave them really wet, and not let them like air out at all, then if you have high humidity in summer, as with anything with watercolor, you definitely want to refrigerate your watercolor, because even though there usually is an antibacterial in the mix, in the binder, like with me it's clove oil and honey, but still, if it's really humid in your environment and your house is really hot or your studio is really hot, then there's bacteria in the air that will go into your watercolor and it will definitely mold it if there's like left, incubating for a long time. But if you're using them every day and or every week, then they should be okay being open. But when you keep things in a wet form, even in a palette or in jars, you always want to air them out or put them in the refrigerator. So I forgot to add this, and a little darker. I love this color. It's so pretty. So you see I'm just kind of like working light and dark right now as we get started. So now we're going to mix the crabapple with the azo yellow. So just going right next to it. That's why I have these big lines. This is just the way I do it. And here I'm going to put the lighter version. So this is more, if you notice, there's a Daniel Smith color called Aussie Red Gold. So my crabapple and azo yellow makes a beautiful version of Aussie Red Gold. Taking a little bit more and mixing it in just to get a little bit deeper strength, or I can just use it right down here because that's the color I was looking for, and I'm going to paint that right here. So on this side it's stronger, more towards the reds. And again, you can choose to represent any of the colors that you like as far as the strengths and values that you prefer. So then as I mix crabapple with sunflower yellow, that's going to go here. Get more orangey tone. And then I'm going to get a darker version up here. That looks good. Gonna dapple it in. So pretty. Let's grab that aqua suede. This is such a pretty color. It's like one of my favorites. You can see how much coverage it gives you right there. And then I'm going to do a really deep, it's like a deep velvety. It really does look like suede, but it's watercolor. It's so pretty. Let's get some more off the brush. And rinse it. And let's see what we get. Yep, that's good. Nice representation of the color. Not too light, because I want to see a little bit more of that color. Isn't that pretty? So, so pretty. Just gorgeous. So now I'm going to mix it with some crabapple. for a really neat wine color. Such a rich color. When you have a really rich color to start with, you end up with a very rich mix. So this is where it leans, if you want to lean it more towards the really rich depth, and then add more of the crabapple to get more of that rosy, really pretty rosy color. Isn't that a great mix? One of my favorites, actually. These are probably unlikely mixes, but these are the colors that I love to use. And as I get more of the crabapple in there, it just goes more rosy. So I love just kind of experimenting with some of these old colors too as I kind of go through, just mixing them together quickly just to get like fun, unique shades. See how I'm doing that? I'm just kind of mixing them. Ooh, that's a really pretty green. Mixing it with that one. Look at that sap. The azo with the crab tree and the suede makes such a pretty sap. We're going more olive as we mix it. So you learn a lot about colors. You see that? Isn't it great? So actually, I really like that mix. I'm going to go ahead and paint that here, because I found a color that I want to note that I really like. And then I think I'll add a little more of the aqua suede to it. And put that right here. Look at that gorgeous green. Yeah, wait till you see the lesson on greens. It's really, really striking. Isn't that great green? So pretty. Okay, so the last one is Amone, or Uname, I think it is. You guys are trying to teach me how to say it. I love the little flowers, but I do not know how to say the color. It just sticks with me. I have like the hardest time. So it's a really, really deep purple with some cobalt in it. So it's a granulating color, but when you want to reduce it down, it's a beautiful shade. How pretty this is. Yeah, so in mixes, it's going to do some really interesting things. So, of course, when you mix it with yellow, you get like a brownie neutral. So, let's go up here. So it's kind of like an avocado-y neutral, and then if I just bring it to more of the purple, I'm going to get this neutral. Oh, I just painted it wrong. I always do that. Here. I'll just do another one. This is more of a neutral tint if you just keep adding purple. There we go. You guys see that? Definitely time for more coffee. Okay. So, let's see. So let's mix it with some of the other ones. So I've got the purple. I'm going to mix it with the azo yellow. So purple, azo yellow. This gives you like a green gold. Look at that. Did you ever expect to get green gold out of that after purple and yellow? Surprise! And mix that a little bit darker. Well, actually, that should be up here, shouldn't it? Like a dark green gold. And then pick this up for a lighter green gold. Oops. I always start putting them in the wrong places. I just can't help it. I just always do that. But you get the idea. So let me fix this one. And just erase. There we go. So what else do I want? So sunflower mixed with our aqua suede. So I'm going to put the vibrant green up here. Isn't that great? And then bring my brush down to the aqua suede down here. And we want this one mixed with sunflower for the darker green. Then let's mix the anime with the aqua suede. I'm going to do a beautiful, this is almost like a perylene green. And I can pick up a little more color. To get that deep perylene kind of color, and then do a little more purple for more of a bluish color. This is like really pretty. This is almost I'm trying to think of a color that's like this. It's like a deep indigo. What are we missing? So crabapple mixed with the anime. I know I always skip around. I just can't help myself. It's just part of my process, I think. Makes a beautiful, beautiful, bright purple. And then if I do crabapple with a little more concentrated, oh, it kind of looks the same. Let's do this one. I want to lean it more to the pink so that I can find that bright pink that's pretty. This is great for the hyacinth, is the anime with the crabapple. Those two colors, those two mixes together, just put the two on a sponge and just start layering, and you'll get a mix of these two colors. Lovely. So there's our chart. So as a review, I've got like more darker shades here and then some like lighter shades, or ones leaning more towards the other color on this side. So if I mix the sunflower, azo yellow, crabapple, aqua suede, and anime, this is what we're getting, and the colors that I chose to keep, right, that I would use in my palette. This is how I would mix them. Now, depending, there's a lot of variations in these shades, so when you do your mixing chart, you're gonna see a ton of variations. Like even if I go and just collect these, which is really fun to do, and just start jumping around here, mixing them all together, you're going to get a lot of different cool shades. And it's going to teach you not to be afraid of mixing colors. Especially my colors, you don't really get mud, you know. And then I have some saving grace colors. Some of my colors that once you add them to the mix, they're always going to bring you back to a beautiful color that you like. But if you notice, I'm mixing all these together and I'm still getting colors that I really love. You know, adding green to, adding the aqua to pretty much anything is going to make it, it's such a dominant color that you can even add it to the purple and you just get gorgeous shades. Then go back into some yellows and you'll get all these different greens, add a little bit of the sunflower. See how lovely these shades, even add the purple together, and you just get a little deeper olive, add the red in. I mean, isn't this an amazing mix, right? Like, it's just so lovely. Let's add even like a little more red to here for just warm, beautiful autumn tones. Mix it back in, and that's bringing you over to some neutral, beautiful, warm browns. Go up and grab some purple. Even just a little more for that strength of color. Look at that. Then go add a little bit of the green into the mix and pull it really, really tight over to the greens. Add a little more of your reds. Look at that. Go into that neutral wine and just mixing it all together. This is like dirty palette stuff. It's great, right? Like dirty palette stuff. Doesn't get any more fun than that. I mean, look at that. Look at that mix of color. This is why I hate cleaning my palette, because I can't make this stuff up. This just paints itself. Look at that. Just get it all together. It makes the most interesting. I mean, this is why everybody always asks me how I mix my colors, but it's my dirty palette. It really is. I just have very good watercolor in it, right? So when you're using really good watercolor, this is what you're able to get. You're able to mix your palette together and get all these gorgeous mixes of greens or blues or pinks or oranges. I mean, the Jack's watercolor line, really, like, you can mix everything together and still come up with something amazing. It's really just wonderful, wonderful, tried and true watercolor. You mix your own neutrals. Look at that. Again, let's just add a little bit of the crabapple to everything for these lovely, warm neutrals. And then we'll go and add some more color. Pick up some green. Pick up some green. Look at that. Gorgeous, huh? So you can see I'm just mixing all the colors together and just enjoying it with my little, this is an angular shader that you can get in my store at Jack's Watercolor. I love them because they hold just the right amount of water for me, and I think that a lot of my beginners like them for that reason. I looked forever for one that I could offer in different sizes at a really affordable price. So this has been the one, and it comes in a like wide range of 2 sets of 3, so that you can get both sets if you want a full range of colors or full range of sizes while I have them, or you can just get what you need. Adding a little bit of, let's see, let's get some bright yellow in there. Look at that. Now you would have thought that would have made like a terrible brown or something, but nope. Adding yellow to colors that you wouldn't think could mix together, and I'm getting some just beautiful earthy tones. So like if you're a loose landscape painter, you can see where my colors really do, they ring true. They will definitely entertain you and keep your palette so much just fun. I'm just adding a little more aqua suede. Look at that. Look at those colors. They're so pretty. And that's not even half it. We didn't even really represent a lot of oranges, that we did in here. So there's my mixing chart. That's how I do it. I just look for really unusual mixes and things that I haven't been able to get from anything else. But You really will like the watercolor. It's so worth it. And these honey pots last a long time. There is a lot of color in here, especially if you let them set just a little bit. You can let them dry out just a bit to keep them moist. You can re-wet them very, very easily, so. But I would also, in summer and spring, depending on how hot you keep it in your house, if you're around 72, 74, you should be fine. But if you keep your house hot, or it's going to sit in the sun, like say you're next to a south facing window, don't incubate your paints. Put your palettes in the cooler this summer, because you don't want anything to happen to your gorgeous paints. And the air has bacteria in them, so once you open them, remember, you're exposing your wet media to bacteria, and that will just begin to fester and grow in anything wet that you have contained. So once you do open anything, you always want to refrigerate or let them air out just a bit often, especially with wet watercolor palettes. All right, guys, have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you want to see the green swatch color video, then that is in the new class, Botanical Watercolor Journaling for Beginners. Happy painting!